KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now, 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack!
It's just not the same. When
I had to do it in mono for Joe.
Yeah, well, Joe called up and said the limo broke down on 59.
And look who just came in.
And he finally did.
I missed it? Did I miss it?
No,
you missed it right there. I had to do it mono.
That's just not right.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
So I've got your orange juice here for you.
Oh, thank you.
Orsack. I'm thinking of
Great way to start the day.
Yes.
So we've got a pretty interesting show today.
We have a very interesting show today.
And so what are we
That's a
talk about?
switch.
Yeah, it's, right?
Try something new.
But you know what we're talking about today is we're going into real estate, and we're going to start off with talking about buying a new home, actually buying a custom home from a great company who has multiple companies out there, but Trendmaker Homes and Avanti. And they actually have a very special guest they brought into the studio for us today.
And so it's Pamela Blackwood-Ray. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. And welcome.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Well, we're
today?
doing great. So
I just automatically want to go, Avante.
No, well,
No?
well, don't.
Oh, no.
Actually, the first thing when you said her name, Pamela Blackwood-Ray, I just thought about PBR. It's early in the morning, but...
We're still recovering from last week's show, which we actually lost Ashley, our producer, a couple of times during that show. I thought we'd have to, sign off on our own.
I would agree with you right there. Of course, this week will be no different.
Yeah. Yeah, we set the bar pretty low.
We raised the bar to new lows.
So, I always love to ask our guests, most people did not start their life saying, hey, I'm going to go to college, get out, become a realtor, starve for a couple of years, and make it. So, you've been in the business
18
years.
Yes.
18 years.
And so, what motivated you to get into real estate?
She started when she was 11.
People. I love people. Talking to people, meeting someone different every day.
Have you met them?
Oh, yes. All types.
I'm kidding. I love people, too.
Yes. But I don't get. Now you threw her off.
I would say that after working in the medical field for a little while, I think that it was a whole lot easier to sell doctors' homes. And it was easier to work with the medical people. And, of course, being in Houston, we have a lot of medical, oil, and gas.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely
probably the number
agree.
one medical center in the country. I think I can safely say.
Well, one of the things we talk about all the time is if you look at the employment of Houston, everyone looks at oil and gas as being, the number one. But actually, the largest employer by employee count is actually the medical profession, healthcare. That is correct. I mean, we have the number one in terms of, and I think in terms of quality as well, but number one in terms of employee medical center. And then if you look at what's happened, especially down in Clear Lake, look at what you've got. You've got over in Galveston, you've got the UTMB down there, which employs a lot of individuals as well.
They have really grown.
I know for certain the children's medical cancer research, et cetera, is number one in the country.
Absolutely.
Well, we did. I had actually attended a presentation on the medical center, and I think it tops. If you took just the core medical center, it ranks in the top 30 city size.
Oh yeah,
building square footage, things like that. So it's huge. But
it's bigger than Rhode Island.
Yeah, everything's bigger than Rhode Island.
But what is it?
So, but let's get back to our with Pamela here and talk about.
I offended all of the Rhode Island people. All 12 of them.
So you are currently with Keller Williams.
Keller Williams, Clear Lake. Yes.
It's going to be one of those kind of shows today, isn't it?
What's going on in Clear Lake? Let us know a little bit about that, because Clear Lake's one of those little. I tell everybody it's one of the areas that is very strong, has a lot of activity going on. But, if you're in the proper area of Houston, when I mean proper, like Houston proper, the surrounding area, you don't hear a lot about Clear Lake, and there's a lot of good stuff going on down there.
A lot of people will move to Clear Lake instead of going into Galveston because they do want to be on the lake, but maybe they don't want to be on the beach. It is a community that is very supportive of all the children down there. Quiet community. And believe it or not, I believe that it's League City that actually ranks as in the top 4 in the nation for boats.
For
Really?
boats.
In the
Really?
nation. Yes.
That is pretty amazing.
We'll
Well, and there's a
Google
lot
that
of
later.
activity going on down there also. I mean, y'all had Tuscan Lakes that was being built out there. You've got a new Trendmaker community going on down there. So every time I go down there, I mean, I'm one of those that, the only thing I know of is Kemah, right? So
You have kids.
that is correct, But you mentioned about boats and about kids.
Yes.
It's a very kid-friendly area.
Exactly. And, in League City, Trendmaker was building their homes there. They were also building over in Friendswood. Now they are in the process of opening a new subdivision, which is going to be over towards the Bay Oaks area, which is considered Clear Lake. And hopefully, Trendmaker should have those homes up and going by the 1st of next year, and at least a model home by then.
That is awesome.
So
if you're
a big concern about NASA, because when we're cutting back on the space program, so people were really concerned what was going to happen to Clear Lake and the surrounding areas because a lot of employees were living in there. But it has gotten diverse enough that it's booming in that area.
Yes, I think that NASA did set back some of the homeowners as well as the business owners, but in the same respect, you've got so much more there besides NASA. NASA is still there. It does supply, us with quite a few people that come in and out with engineers, but overall, it's medical, oil, and gas.
Medical and oil and gas. And you're right. I think there was that little, people move there because of the quality and the ability to live on the lake, as you mentioned, right? There's a very high quality of life. There's the ability to be in the ocean or in the lake in literally in minutes right there. And if you're an outdoorsy type individual, if you like to, there's a lot of individuals who love fishing, who love to go out deep sea fishing, who love just the outdoorsiness, that is a great area because you're so centrally located to so many things.
Well, and we also have wonderful golf courses. So, you can't beat the golf course.
Right.
Oh, I beat it.
Or it got you,
I leave
right?
big holes in it.
But when I decided to move over to the League City area, and I chose a lot and started to design the home that my 2 children and I wanted. And once I did that, sent it out for bid. And I knew quite a few of the builders in the area and really liked and respected all of them. But when it came down to choosing a builder, I did choose Avante. And Avante is owned by Trendmaker, and Avante is build on your own lot. They will build in the south area. They have a representative down there, Carolyn Lee, and then they also have a representative in the northern part of Houston.
Can we invoice Trendmaker?
Exactly, right? Hey, well, I have a question, speaking of that,
several.
what is the process in going through building your own home? I mean, that's one of the questions I get. I get a lot of questions on that in general. Not only from the finance, but they'll think, from a building perspective, what do you go through in that process, especially when we're talking about an area like Clear Lake, in which you also have things to consider, such as windstorm, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, Chris, can
Yes.
I jump back one question further than that?
Joe, it's not your show. No, I'm sorry about that.
You said when you were looking, you chose Avante.
Yes.
What was the motivation for you? What if there was a defining thing that drew you to that product? What was it?
Being able to really choose what I wanted and have the availability, whether you want to be on a high end or a low end. A lot of your custom builders are very high end.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say with Avante that you can't go out and spend a lot more money, but I wanted to have those options. I didn't want to be pressured one way or the other.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
And I think the fact also that they're owned by Trendmaker, they have a lot of options
Yeah.
right there. They can build
Yes.
at those different levels.
And of course, Avante now has their own showroom to look at granite, your tile, which is separate from Trendmaker because it's a little bit different high end. And when you go to build, the most important is being able to sit down with the architect, figure out what you want. Now, Trendmaker does have plans that people have built on various lots for individuals. But if you want to take their plan and tweak it, they'll do that. I did sit down and personalize and design my own home. And from what I understand, I think that Trendmaker has taken a little bit of my home and made it a Trendmaker plan. It's not as large as my home, but it's very similar.
Huh.
But
So that's
they've
good.
always had very innovative plans. I always remember looking at other builders, then look at Trendmaker. They always seem to be ahead of the curve as far as appeal and design, things like that. So let's go back to the Chris's question about what that process was like for you. You chose a builder. You're building an area like requires wind and storm and flood, and what kind of considerations you did. Talk about that process a little bit.
Well, you want to feel comfortable with your builder. You want to feel like they understand what the city is going to require, because every city is different, and especially when you get down close to the water, you even have more to take into consideration in regards to your windows, in regards to the slab, how close you are to the water. And I am on the water, so there are, quite a few things to look at. And when you go to design your home, and it's what has been approved by, say, an HOA, is not necessarily approved by the city, because you're only allowed certain width of windows when you face the water. And some people will put in a window and then change it out, but the bottom line is safety. You want to be able to walk away and know everything's okay. In regards to working with Avante, it's really well, I would say overall, if you can really discuss everything with whoever your contractor is. If you can have that relationship with your contractor and be able to talk with him and let him explain to you why they're doing certain things, and then explain to him that maybe you were unaware, because a lot of times there can be conflicts, but if you really sit back and listen and talk it out, and a lot of contractors do not.
And I think that's it. Communication is a big issue in building, because a lot of times it's like, why isn't anything happening? Nothing's happening there. What's going on? That sort of thing. Boy, I'm losing my voice today. Okay, y'all carry on.
No, but you're right. To go off what Rob was saying, I built a Trendmaker home from scratch, and I understand what you're saying, and I had an incredible experience. And I've also built homes in which I've had a bad experience. And, a lot of that communication is key, and also during that process is to understand that sometimes things are going to happen because of due process. You might not understand the reason why, but it happens because of that due process right there. And, a lot of things I've heard, obviously, down in the Clear Lake areas, you do have different challenges. You might have something approved by the HOA, as you mentioned. But then the city has their own requirements on how your building code goes and what you have to meet standards to certain aspects of things. And you have your windstorm, and you got your different inspection processes during that process, during the building process.
Yes.
And all those can impact things tremendously.
Ashley is either wishing us peace or reminding us that we have 2 minutes left in the segment.
That is correct.
One of the two.
That is correct. I think she was just.
She is a very peaceful person, I might add, but I think we have 2 minutes left. How do we get a hold of you?
281-889-1756. I am always available.
Say that one more time, by the way, for all those who are listening.
281-889-1756.
And you have a great team lead down there. Let me know a little bit about Larry.
Oh, Larry. Larry is our team leader at Keller Williams in Clear Lake. He is wonderful. He is our Superman.
He's your Superman.
He is our Superman.
I'll tell you what, I saw Larry not too long ago. Great individual, you're right. Great team down there you've got. And I know if Larry's in charge of everything down there, I'm a team lead, you're definitely in very, very, very good hands.
Oh, yes. And Keller Williams is now in the top 100, I would say, in the city of Houston for companies.
Wow, that is awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, we have a lot of stuff still to talk about, but we're coming up against a break right now.
We're coming back.
But we are coming back.
Okay.
We still have 3 segments to go. We have a lot of fun, a lot of great times. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
And it shows them pearly white. Just a jackknife has old Maggie, baby, and it keeps it out of sight. You know when that shark bites with its teeth, baby, scarlet billows start to spread. Fancy gloves, though, wears old Maggie